to where you really felt like you found your role in this team? Because, like, it felt like the first 2 years you were trying to figure out exactly your place in the W.
Everybody does a little bit, and I think it's having like that support system to...
The WNBA is buzzing after Lexie Hull revealed surprising details about Caitlin Clark inside the Indiana Fever locker room. Clark has built her reputation on staying calm under pressure. Whether she's tripped, pushed, or distracted, she never loses focus. She carries herself like nothing happened, unfazed by the chaos around her. But Hull's latest comments have sparked fresh conversations, leaving fans and analysts eager to know more.
Where you really felt like you found your role in this team? Because, like, it felt like the first 2 years you were trying to figure out exactly your place in the W.
Things are so, like, up in the air that it's hard
Lexie
to know
isn't
exactly
holding back anymore. Outspoken and determined, she's done watching her best friend and teammates face unfair treatment. Now, she's speaking out, revealing stories of mistreatment, moments of disrespect, and hidden behavior that was once kept behind closed doors, demanding everyone finally hear the truth.
I mean, I've read some of my DMs that are hidden, and I refuse to read a lot of them because I know, like, people are upset, and so, like, you kind of forget that there's these people behind the scenes until they come out of the woodwork and say, like, I've been following along this whole time.
The Indiana Fever's season couldn't have started worse. Just 1 win and 8 tough losses. For any team, that's rough, but for the Fever, who entered with high expectations, it felt like a full-blown crisis. Pressure mounted, doubts spread, and the locker room grew tense as fans and analysts questioned how such a promising roster unraveled so fast. Everyone wanted answers. Could they bounce back? Lexie Hull, now a vital piece of the team's resurgence, spoke candidly about those early struggles. She admitted the locker room was in shambles, with players drained physically and mentally, overwhelmed by stress. Yet beneath the frustration, there was a strong belief that they were far better than their record suggested. It wasn't blind hope, it was a conviction that, once unlocked, could change everything.
Season, all of our shots, threes going up, fans are out of their seats and expecting it to go in. So that just feels so good to feel the confidence from them.
When Hull revealed what was happening behind closed doors, it all began to make sense. The Fever were in emotional turmoil, each loss hitting harder than the last. Players questioned everything, their roles, the game plan, even their place in the league. The stress was suffocating, and some came close to breaking. But here's the surprising part, the team never turned on each other. Even at their most frustrated, they refused to divide. Instead, they chose unity, holding together when it mattered most.
Following in the spotlight is great, and it's a huge deal for the WNBA and women's sports, but like at the end of the day, our job is to perform. We've seen just such a growth year after year, so I mean, it's been so fun. The fans in Indiana have been amazing, so just excited.
The players made a difficult but defining choice. They trusted one another and refused to place blame. That unity became the foundation for an unexpected comeback, proving how much they could overcome by standing together. Then everything shifted with Caitlin Clark's entry into the WNBA draft. Fans who had watched her dominate college basketball went wild when the Indiana Fever secured the #1 pick. Almost overnight, the team went from overlooked to the league's main attraction. Social media lit up, Twitter buzzing with endless posts, Instagram flooded with fan art, and ticket sales that had once struggled suddenly surged. By the time Clark officially joined, the atmosphere felt more like the hype of a blockbuster premiere than a basketball season. On April 10, 2023, Gainbridge Fieldhouse filled with thousands of fans roaring as her name appeared on the draft screen. The energy was electric, and for the Fever, it wasn't just a new season, it was the start of an entirely new era.
Realize that, like, the start of the season isn't the biggest deal, it's how we finish and how we get better, and really proud of just the resiliency of the group. Yeah, I think, she sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, but then that's transitioned to the...
Caitlin Clark's impact stretched far beyond her deep threes and highlight reel plays. Sure, she was already a walking headline, but what truly changed everything was the energy she brought into the Fever's locker room. Lexie Hull remembered Clark's very first practice, saying it felt like the team suddenly came alive. It wasn't just her talent, it was her personality. Clark's humor had everyone laughing within minutes, easing the tension that had weighed the team down. For the first time, practices felt less like a grind and more like teammates simply enjoying the game together. Yet, alongside the laughter came Clark's fierce competitiveness. Her relentless drive to win spread quickly, lifting spirits and reigniting motivation. Players who had felt drained or discouraged suddenly found themselves pushing harder, inspired by her determination. Hull described it simply: Clark's presence was impossible to ignore, and it transformed the team's mindset completely.
Definitely gonna say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive.
Practice no longer felt like a grind. It became a challenge the Fever embraced. And Clark made sure they were always ready. Her influence wasn't just about highlight plays. She pushed the team to reach levels they hadn't realized they had. Then came a moment that proved she was more than just a star athlete. During a grueling practice, Coach Sides cranked up the speakers to mimic deafening crowd noise. The volume was overwhelming, but Clark didn't flinch. She called out, "Can someone turn this off? It's giving me a headache." The gym froze. Nobody usually spoke to the coach that way. When she repeated it, the team erupted in laughter. Just like that, the tension vanished. The moment was surprising, unforgettable, and quickly became one of those legendary stories the Fever still laugh about, perfectly capturing how Clark reshaped the team's spirit.
Talk about a lot is it feels like she really imbues everybody with confidence as well. Like, she just sort of has this way of thinking big about things. Oh, look, you've been on the Fever for 3 years now, but this year, you go from a rebuilding team to now you guys are selling at arenas. You're a fan favorite.
Let's turn to Lexie Hull's journey with the Indiana Fever, a story that's hard to ignore. Her entry into the WNBA wasn't smooth. In her first 2 seasons, she spent most of her time on the bench, averaging just over 12 minutes per game while shooting barely 30%. For someone who had been a star at Stanford, winning back-to-back NCAA titles in 2021 and 2022, the adjustment was rough. It was a stretch filled with challenges and frustration. But then, almost suddenly, everything shifted. Hull's game began to click, and her confidence grew. She later described that transformation as feeling like a dream, one so good she never wanted to wake up from.
The #1 pick, and once Caitlin declared, that kind of changed things, I think, for the city a little bit. People were just so excited to come support the Fever. We felt that. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, part of my role is just getting to the open spots, and we have such a good offense that people find the open.
It wasn't just about strategies, it was about belief. When someone like Caitlin Clark, a proven star, trusts you to step up, it changes everything. Suddenly, Lexie Hull was knocking down shots and carrying herself with the confidence of a player who truly belonged. Fans who barely knew her name were now cheering, while teammates marveled at her growth. Clark's competitive fire fueled it all. Hull often joked that Clark hated losing at anything, whether it was a scrimmage or a simple drill. Practices that once felt routine quickly turned into full-on battles. Clark pushed herself relentlessly, and that intensity spread through the entire team. Players dove for loose balls, fought for rebounds, and treated every rep like the season depended on it. The shift was undeniable. What started in practice carried straight into games, where that newfound energy and determination translated into results the Fever had desperately been chasing.
The competitive aspect of it too. I think it's something you've talked about in the past too, that she's just kind of raised the competitiveness level.
Guard on the other team, hitting open shots, being where I need to be, spreading the floor. Like, those are things that I can bring to any team. So those are the things that I feel.
Caitlin Clark's mix of competitiveness and humor turned her into a true game changer for the Fever's locker room. According to Lexie Hull, every practice with Clark felt like a championship game. The drills were demanding, the scrimmages intense, yet there was always joy in the air. Clark made every moment count while keeping things light, striking the perfect balance between hard work and fun. That balance lifted team spirit and made the grind feel meaningful. Her influence spread like a ripple, reshaping the team's entire culture. The clearest example was Hull herself. Her resurgence wasn't just about effort, but about what happens when a player's confidence is unlocked and fully embraced. Caitlin Clark's mix of competitiveness and humor turned her into a true game changer for the Fever's locker room.